Alright guys, we're into the second set of semifinals for tonight, and it's going to be Empire Beastie versus Verdi, and Verdi has been nominated as the underdog by you, Jack, and I'll be reminding you of that fact forever and ever after. I will chase you down, man, and once Verdi wins the GSL victory and kisses that trophy, I will say, didn't I tell you?
I mean, at this point, seeing his play, I don't see any reason why he can't take this tournament for sure.
Yeah, it seems so. But then Beastie along the way through two Grandmaster players, and being Grandmaster in Heart of the Swarm beta, it means you have things figured out. You can't be a Grandmaster just, because you're fancy or because you dress nicely. There is not a single employee of Blizzard looking around for nice dressed people and saying, oh, you're going to join our Grandmaster group because we want more beautiful people join. That's not how it works. You need to spend hours and hours drilling hard to join Grandmaster, and that's actually a big achievement. Or if you're a Zerg, you just make a lot of infestors and that's it.
Well, you used to be able to do that, but not so much anymore.
Yeah. I love how they redesigned the infestors, so basically it stayed a useful unit. You need to be careful because if you overcompensate when you nerf stuff, you can just make it useless. And it will become obsolete. But with the nerfs of infestors, the basic idea behind the unit stayed the same, but it just got more difficult to use it, and it scales it scales less, which is better for the gameplay, with the removal of the armor and attack upgrades on the infested terrains, reducing the number of health points the eggs have, fungal being a projectile. All of that adds up to infestor being still the same unit, but the dynamics behind it have changed.
Yeah, I was really disappointed when the sniper got nerfed. I think back in almost a year ago now.
Oh yeah.
To fix the Broodlord Ultralist sniping problem, and now it's completely useless. It won't even kill a Baneling or a Zergling, or a snipe won't do anything at all.
It kills a Baneling. I'm quite sure.
No.
No?
No, it does 25 damage. Baneling has 30 hit points.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is useless. But it is still useful. It does how much? 30 psionic damage additionally?
To psionics it does 50 damage psionic, and 25 normally.
Right, okay. Alright guys, so anyway, we have one gate core, two gases, but please notice that not all of them are being mined. And what Verdi has done pretty much well is the timings on his gases, so he usually takes both and then starts adding more and more workers to them as the game progresses when he needs more gas. And usually players find it hard to manage their gas income, but I get a feeling that Verdi does it perfectly.
He has a very, very meticulously planned out exactly when he's going to increase the number of workers. A lot of players will know when they're going to take their gas, but players like Verdi know exactly how many probes they want on gas at any given point in time.
Also, we have your favorite aggressive zealot, which feels so anxious. Oh my god, I have just been planting flowers in my garden. I want to get teleported back to air, even if it costs me an arm and a leg,
I might start doing that. Just start throwing the first zealot out there against Terran and see what happens.
What is quite strong, if the Terran goes for an expansion first, if you still have your scouting probe, then going a zealot plus a probe, that can deal with even up to 3 marines if you micro correctly. And then you have... Yes, I have seen that a lot in GSL and started using that myself, and people are usually surprised because probes may not deal the biggest amounts of damage, but they still nibble at your toes, and that deals 5 damage per hit. It also regenerates shields, and marines cannot do the fancy micro of running around from your zealot. Then you join with a stalker, and I have won games with 3 units. One zealot, one probe, and one stalker, and I have won games, and that was in Diamond League, so it wasn't against someone who was unaware of what I was doing.
have a little collection here. Looks like Verdi's going for one of each unit. He's got a mothership core. And he's got a sentry. He's got a stalker. He's got a zealot. He wants to collect them all.
Yeah, he has been playing too much Pokemon lately.
I mean, I don't think you can do that, actually. I'm pretty sure you can't play too much Pokemon.
Did you play it?
Oh, I still play. I played Pokemon today, actually.
Is it a good game? I mean, lots of people talk about it. Artosis talks about it all the time, but I haven't played at all.
Oh, you can... there's a German group of developers who've created a Pokemon MMO, so you can play Pokemon just like it was back in the day, but you can play it as a massive online player. You can go to pokemmo.de to check it out. I'm playing it right now, and it's super fun.
Right now, as we cast?
Yeah, absolutely. I play it all the time. I'm constantly playing it.
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding, I wouldn't do that. That'd be terribly unprofessional.
Yeah, kinda would.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But yeah, I played it today. It was fantastic. You definitely need to at least give it a try, just for the nostalgia. Like, I need to play Final Fantasy VII for the nostalgia of it, because I haven't played it and people tell me I must. And you, I think, should try out some Pokemon.
Well, I have recently played half of Final Fantasy VII, and in all honesty, I did play quite a couple of Japanese RPGs, and I didn't like Final Fantasy VII that much. I think the dialogues were just too cheesy at points, you know. The characters were not really... you know, I played games like Breath of Fire before, and I have played... I couldn't come up with the titles right now, but I'm quite sure I played enough of JRPGs, and usually they have very good dialogue lines, and you know, Final Fantasy VII just didn't catch me. I played like 20 hours of it and said, well, yeah. So.
I felt the same way when I was playing Final Fantasy X. I really liked the story, and I really liked the mechanics of the game, but the dialogue lines and the voice acting is so cheesy. I couldn't take it.
That's exactly right. So let's sum up what's happening in the game. Beasty right now using a factory to scout. That's always a big tell to your opponent. If he sees a flying factory, he knows you're not going mech. Otherwise, you would use that factory, of course. And we have a Ghost Academy here in the background. Very nice. And also, Beasty is moving out with his small force to try and push. He knows that the opponent did go for an expansion. Oh no, Beasty changes his mind and tries to go the other way around. Okay, that's still cool. And yeah, we'll see how this plays. I mean, neither of the players have strong enough armies, and this may work both ways. I mean, I have saw games with exactly such forces, exactly the same push, and I have seen the Protoss devastating the Terran, but I also saw the Terran devastating the Protoss, so we'll see. A Guardian Shield is up, and no force fields, only one Zealot lost. That was terrific by Verdi. Very.
And it looks like he's even watching. He's got some stalkers in the back just in case of any quick harassment. And actually, I mean, he could even, this might be a little bit overkill, he could recall his drop defense back to the main front if he really needed it to defend the natural there.
That's a nice trick I haven't seen before. Good. You know, Mothership Core, like I said earlier, one of the favorite units I think introduced to Heart of the Swarm with this recall upgrade being used so frequently early in the game. It just creates so much space for creative play. And we'll be having drops right now. I think that this is back to the classic question of how do I, you know, how the heck do I split my army correctly? And, you know, I think Verdi has it down pretty much well. I would say maybe one stalker is missing from this force up here. But we'll see. We'll see how the defense goes, and then we will be the judges.
Oh, but the army is pretty out of position. It's all the way down at the third. Oh, but he's going to drop the third.
Oh, yeah, well, okay.
This is not actually working out as well as I thought it would. Oh,
and a nice cannon here by Verdi. It manages... Ah, that was fancy. We'll discuss that in a second. But what Beastie was doing is he was exploiting the fact that on this map, if you stand right here, you can just shoot the probes and you can shoot down the assimilator. So this,
Oh, wow.
in fact, hasn't worked at all for Beastie because Verdi knew that and has placed a perfect cannon. That's a perfect cannon, guys, right there. This is how a perfect cannon looks like. You know, if I was a developer and if I had a cannon like this, I would just paint a smiley face all over it. Make it yellow and screamy.
I mean, absolutely. That's what I do to all my favorite things, personally, so...
Yeah.
Definitely good moves there.
You have been my favorite wife. Let me tattoo you a smiley face. On your arm.
Your favorite? Of many?
Oh yeah, I only have one wife. Sorry.
Okay.
That was just a joke.
Oh, I know.
I wasn't serious or anything.
No.
Alright, so Beastie right now mobilizing his forces, a lot of medivacs. Now, with the change to Caduceus reactor, this many medivacs is okay. Now, I'm not sure if you saw many games with the Caduceus reactor on, but once it was in its height of glory, it could heal units so fast that even with a greater army, you couldn't deal enough damage to the Marines or Marauders that have been that were being healed.
I do remember. I remember the days of the Imbivac, and I am glad that they don't exist anymore.
Imba
Oh my god.
Stores, yeah, GG Lords, all of that names.
It was so rough. If they got up to that upgrade, I would be so frustrated because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Very, very strong, but right now Caduceus Reactor's been pretty much phased out.
Right.
Oh,
and
look
EMP.
at that.
Oh, very fancy.
Look at that.
Yeah, EMPUs on medivacs so they don't get feedback to their devs. Right now throwing cloak on the ghost and the game is on storm. A very good storm and all the ghosts go inside the storm. Not a lot of EMPs on the Protoss army but barely enough. Now will this keep it in place? Oh my god, the Terran is running away. Very nice micro. Beastie is playing super fast, but I think he just got surrounded and he needs to run away, pick up these units and take them into the medivacs, although it may not be necessary. No, yes it is. Sorry, cannot... Oh my god, he did survive that! Oh!
Yeah. One medevac per marine almost, but they're gonna get separated from their the medevacs there, and then they're gonna do okay though. These cloak ghosts, 5 kills.
Yeah.
2 kills, 5 kills. They did work.
These two Marines, I mean...
Can you imagine? Tell when they go home.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine being one of the 2 survivors from such a huge battle? It was down to the grid and you know, just 2 people survived. The stories that they are going to tell back home. Oh my god.
Yeah, so we got some 3 base versus, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, 4th base and 4th base both coming up. So we'll have big macro play here.
That was
Storms are getting ready. We have a nuke on the way.
Oh, nuke. Always fancy. I always liked nukes. I mean, nukes were one of the most underused objects in Wings of Liberty, and I think they should be used even more often because the problem with nukes is the time they take, and this has been from Brood War, where yeah, well, it basically was from even not Brood War but the original Starcraft. Nuke just, you know, had to take time, either, you know, otherwise it would be too powerful. But with the speed of play that StarCraft 2 is on, I think that the nuke casts just a little bit too long, and it's not very usable in multiplayer, which is so sad.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's a second skill shot. The nuke. That's actually the first skill shot. Yeah, it's such a long skill shot, you didn't recognize it as a skill shot.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Oh, I love the notification on the minimap. That's going to save so many casters from embarrassing himself and looking for a nuke. Oh.
Oh, and he kills it just at the last second.
Yeah.
The scream of the ghost is heard throughout the
flats. No! Yeah.
The most dramatic deaths come from ghosts in this.
Yes. What would be also awesome is when a ghost drops dead, I would love to see an empty flying shell of a nuke falling down from the sky and just bouncing off the ground.
Oh,
don't you
like
think that would be sweet?
Activated, it just sort of falls down and just disintegrates.
Like in the sands, and they get stuck.
It gets stuck there. Becomes a terrain object that you now have to play around.
Yeah.
But it only works with failed nukes, and only a nuke.
Okay. Anyway, we have a big engagement. Nice feedbacks and nice storms.
Right on the.
Yeah, the EMPs are.
The storm after storm here.
Oh, the EMPs.
Big chunk of those Vikings got taken down. The Colossus is still up.
The EMPs were not good enough, and this is why the Protoss has such a huge advantage, although the Vikings are still alive, so they need to be focused. Only 2 Stalkers alive though, only source of the air damage will be from the Archons, and this is getting surrounded, and it is GG from Beasty. Wow. Jinx.
How did you know I was gonna say GG?
I didn't.
How did you know?
I just placed my bet, and now you broke the jinx. I'm sorry, something terrible is going to happen to you. You know, one of the terrible things I could imagine right now happening to you is myself misspelling something and offending your mother, for example. That won't happen, of course. Yeah. But let me tell you a funny story. My good friend at work once sent an email to a couple of very important people. He did attach the whole of our team. I work in IT, by the way. So anyway, he did send the email because we had a major screw up at work, and we wanted to apologize up front, and you know, he had made a very nice apologetic email, not too much apologetic, just, you know, right in the middle of things. And at the end he wanted to say, you know, sorry for your inconvenience, and what he said instead was sorry for your incontinence. And you know, people at the office said, oh, Jakub, I think you have misspelled you know, inconvenience, and he said, oh, and then we started searching dictionaries, and we found out that incontinence is the lack of ability of holding your piss, basically. It was so funny, and then he went all red, and he sent an email again saying, oh, I'm sorry, I meant inconvenience. And someone from the very important people said, you know, I think the first term is quite okay too regarding the situation. So lots of funny stories from work. Sorry for your incontinence is going to be one of the stories I'll be telling to my grandchildren.
Or maybe even become one of those long-running jokes that ends up happening when you send your friends, sorry for the incontinence.
I have done even a worse thing once. This was back in the days where I wasn't so fluent with English, and I knew a lot of words, but I still haven't got enough practice using them. You know what I mean? And
yep.
So what I did is I have messaged a couple of people that have been working for me, and I was meaning to say sorry to bug you, as in, you know, sorry to trouble you, and could you help me with this? And what I said instead, sorry to bugger you. And if you guys don't know, bugger is a term used for anal sex. So you know, I was very diplomatic. I apologized up front for buggering them, but I didn't mean that. You know,
apologize.
That's just general courtesy. But they didn't make a comment on that, and they all kept their faces straight. And only 8 or 10 hours after that, I did hear from one of them saying, "Oh, Sebastian, I don't want to tell you this, but you may want to check in a dictionary what bugger means." and I did, and I was, oh my god. It's okay. I wasn't prosecuted for that because yeah, not being prosecuted always cool, always works.
It's my favorite thing actually. Not being prosecuted, one of my favorite things ever.
So anyway, guys, you are asking for the bracket on the chat. Here you go. Here you go. Here's the bracket. So we're in the second semi-final. This is Jäger's Master Cup. You're watching the first Heart of the Swarm edition. We're so hyped casting it, me and Jackatag. You can find our Twitters in the bottom right corner of the screen. And yeah, this is going to be a weekly series of tournaments. Of course, we'll be taking a break between when the beta shuts down and the Heart of the Swarm is actually released. But besides that, you have a couple of weeks of solid Friday entertainment around the evenings ahead of you guys. So I hope you like it. I hope you follow us, subscribe, whatever you want to do really. And besides that, I hope you're having fun. If you have any thoughts about how could we do this better, how could we do this, you know, even more entertaining, then let us know. There's a thread on Team Liquid with my cast on it, and you can always leave a comment. I always pay special attention to them. But now back to the players. Let's introduce these two very brave nerds. One of them spawning in the top right corner. It is Beastyqt from Team Empire.
And in the bottom left-hand corner of our screen, we have the Verdi.
That was kind of anticlimactic. We have Verdi.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's Verdi. His play speaks for himself for the most part. He's just ripping right through this tournament.
That was a nice way of getting out of that.
Hey, you know, it always works better when you don't mention.
Yeah. I like casting with you. Always funny. Alright, so anyway.
We have our normal aggressive zealot. No, this seems to be a defensive zealot.
Yeah, and can you see that constant selecting and deselecting, and he just wants to go and rip someone apart, but just is not allowed to. No, you hold. No, I want to move. You hold. I want to move. You hold. God damn it.
Yeah.
And then I can easily imagine a situation where he is ordered to take participate in a battle, and he doesn't. And you know, what the hell was that? Well, you told me to hold, so I helped.
Yeah, so you know.
Bad manner zealot. That would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he just doesn't. That would be an interesting as a mechanic, like some sort of fear mechanic where your units don't do what you tell them to do. All your units don't have good morale, so they won't go into battle.
Yeah, could you imagine that stim scouting marine just turning over? Oh, I'm not going there. I'm not going.
I'm not going. Sacrifice me.
Yeah,
Don't sacrifice me to find out how many siege tanks he has.
You know, or he just stands up and says, "Why me? I have wife and kids back home. Please choose someone else." Nick doesn't have any family. You can choose him.
A little bit more aggression from the Militia Corps with Verdi, trying to get something done over here. Four Marines on the way, definitely.
Oh, and he manages to delay the factory. That's actually kind of huge at this point in the game. Not by a huge lot, but by 5 or 10 seconds, yeah. Okay, so for now we have both players expanding. I think we'll be seeing standard 2-base play, and also some aggression from Verdi. He already has built four gateways together, which means he may try to break the front of Beastyqt. And I wouldn't be surprised at all, because he saw that Beastyqt is going for a transition, so we have mech on the way. And oh, the Widow Mines. The Widow Mines are going to be sweet in defense. The question is, will Verdi be able to do a lot of damage with 4-gate army? Or is he just going to use that defensively?
Yeah, and the most recent patch hasn't been out for very long at all, so the power of the Widow Mine, how strong it is now against the Protoss units is kind of, I would imagine, still being judged. We could have some misjudgments on the power on the defensive Verdi, but hopefully he's done his homework. I assume that he has, and he'll know that the Widow Mine is going to be dealing some extra damage to all those Protoss things.
You know, one thing I wonder about is how, what exactly will change to before the real launch of Heart of the Swarm. Because recently the patch changes haven't been major. At first, we have seen a lot of abilities switching units, a lot of abilities finding new homes, and seeing how that works. We had major changes in how the units work and what they are for. We had removal of the Warhound. We had the removal of Vortex ability for the Protoss, which for me is huge. But now the balance changes are rather small and you would say insignificant, but this just means that the balance is just getting better and better now.
Yeah, and I think that's. I was really glad to see that as the size of the patches started getting smaller and the changes start getting more refined, because it was a lot easier to adjust and it was a lot easier to see what exactly the effects of those changes really were.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Okay, so we have Beasty with 4 Hellions here. Does he have... oh, there's a way to check buildings right now. Where we have that, structures, under T, we can check buildings. And he doesn't have an armory, so he won't be able to turn them into Hellbats.
That's too bad. I mean, I really would like to see more Hellbats. As many as possible in all situations. You were gonna say something?
No, I was just trying to think out loud. This is what I do as a caster. The whole secret of my casting is just a lot of thinking out loud. And there's so much going in my head, and all of the random stuff I talk about, this is what normally comes through my mind during my my daily activities.
Very nice.
Yeah.
The Hellions though are gonna grant him a little bit of map control in any case, because he's just hanging out in the middle of the map and he knows that his opponent isn't coming at him by land, unless he's taking a very long route to get there.
Now,
so
what we'll be going to have is a very fancy push, 2 siege tanks, 4 Widow Mines. This is somewhat nice. I mean, Raven alongside with the Widow Mines will allow you to clear out any sort of detection that the opponent has, if you micro that right.
And that's a big advantage for the Widow Mine, because it's going to force the opponent to back off. But it looks like, yeah, he's sort of blocking both paths with Widow Mines,
which is cool, but then it doesn't do real damage to the opponent, and it doesn't hurt him in any way pretty much right now. It just blocks the path, so Beastie can be safe against other things, but what you kind of need to focus on is just dealing some damage to your enemy as opposed to preventing him from doing damage to you, if you know what I mean.
Ooh. Cleared out that observer in the bottom area. He's going for a Hellbat drop now. Oh, and here they are.
And so many workers? No, only...
No.
Oh. That's huge.
Block some of the pathing and help it out, but that is still a lot of probes lost.
I just wonder what they will do with the Hellbat drops, because we have seen this becoming more and more popular, and a lot of players find it hard to defend against. And Grabby, for example, when he's playing, he's leaving specifically for that purpose around 4 stalkers in his base to deal with a Hellbat drop nearly at all times. So maybe, well, I don't know. Okay, this is all guesswork. This is Heart of the Swarm beta, and a lot of things are just at its defining stage. Things may change so much during the next couple of months, but for now, Hellbats are pretty damn difficult to deal with.
Yeah, definitely tricky to deal with, and very strong. So we're gonna see. I think one of the big things that's a problem for Protoss with the Hellbat is that it's not an armored unit, but it has a lot of hit points. So the Stalkers don't get to deal their bonus damage versus armored against it.
Exactly.
And it still has a lot of hit points, so it takes a while to kill.
So you cannot really counter it, per se.
Yeah, I don't think there's any bonus against light that the Protoss have at all, so it's got to be flat damage.
Oh, yeah, even the Colossus don't have bonus against light. Oh! Did you see
But you know
that
what
reaction
has
time?
bonus against light? Hellbats have bonus against light and more.
Oh my god.
More light probes are going to die. Oh my god. Oh no. 23 workers killed.
Not very good for Verdi, and he also has lost a couple of units at the front. He did clear the Widow Mines that were blocking the path, and maybe he'll just try going the other way around where there are additional 2 Widow Mines. Although, in terms of placing these Widow Mines, I would place them a little bit more to the north, because when you order your units on attack move, they will just move very close to the edge, and the second Widow Mine may just not activate. And boom! One boom! 2 stalkers going out. Sorry, that's a sacrifice you have to make. Widow Mine so strong right now, but then Beasty knows exactly what's coming in his way, and you know, there's a lot of High Templars power there, and High Templars can be powerful, but we have 2 ghosts. If they land the EMP correctly, then it would mean sorry High Templar, no longer.
Yeah, we have a huge defensive line from
and we have a
Empire's
huge run
Beasty.
by the way, the third of the Protoss. Well, the Hellions trying to do so much damage, but well, they kind of fail in that way, because I think that transforming your Hellions to Hellbats is going to become standard. When you do a run by, the first thing you're going to do is to transform them.
It's a little bit tricky because it takes 4 seconds to transform, which is a lot of time.
Does it? 4 seconds? Not
4
3
seconds.
or 2?
4 in-game seconds, yeah.
Oh my god, that's so low.
So it's a lot of time compared to the 3 seconds of a Viking, or actually I think it's 4 seconds for tanks as well to change. So
Yeah.
it's the exact same thing as a siege tank turning to siege mode. So it takes a little while.
But now we have Verdi moving on, and this command center that was trying to become a planetary fortress didn't succeed. Also, we have one Immortal that is shooting down the wrong target right now, and will we have enough focus? Beautiful storms go down, but oh, so many Archons morphing right now. After the EMP is gone, he doesn't even waste a breath thinking, oh my god, I'm out of energy. He transformed to Archons right away, and this push is devastating for the Terrans. A lot more Zealots on their way, and we have GG from Beasty, and Verdi goes straight into the finals, and Beasty, is out of the tournament so early. 2-0.
Well played by Verdi. Wow. And he weathered all of those Hellbats.
But he's still the underdog, you know. I like our little jests.
Never ever gonna let me live that down.
No, not really.
Ever.
No, not really.
I accept it.
Yeah.
I accept it.
Maybe, you know, if we go to a bar and you offer me some whiskey, then maybe if you get
And
me
then maybe
drunk,
you'll
I will
forget.
make...
Alright, okay.
Yeah,
The
I will
next
make you a
time
promise I will
Poland.
forget the next day.
Oh. Well, I mean, actually, you know what I could do is we could go to the bar, and you might forget the next day anyway. So even if you don't promise, I could say, oh yeah, last night while we were at the bar, you promised to let that one go. And you say, oh, okay, I guess I said that.
Yeah, by the way, the finals are up. I think we're going to make it best of 3 because it's kind of late here in Europe, and the players are asking to make it best of 3. I think we had a very good run today, so we can make the finals best of 3 instead of best of 5. So we'll be having best of 3 between Verdi and Dystar. Again, Protoss versus Terran. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be back with you in a second. In the meanwhile, please do enjoy the commercials, whatever they are.